Okay, so that's July 28th to November 24th. The difference now, though, is Jupiter is in Pisces. So there's a change in this Jupiter because we need to know, when did the change happen? It was retrograding. It was going backwards when it went from Aries to Pisces. Because when that change happens, that's when Jupiter changes. It'll change what it's expanding upon. It'll change the performance. It'll change the theater, the theatrics. It'll change the energy. It's not so much about my freedoms and my independent action of my body. Jupiter becomes more of about prayer and more about politics because it's in Pisces. It becomes more about those Neptune meanings. We're still looking for a date. There it is. So Aries, Jupiter in Aries at 0 degrees. This is October 27th, 2022. But Jupiter, last day in Aries at 0 degrees, which is the world axis point. So we will hear about something. Let me back it up even more because it stays there for a while. It's something big. It might have to do with the war, with Russia and Ukraine. It might have to do with that because Aries is soldiers. Mars rules Aries. You follow? And when Jupiter goes into Aries, you can absolutely, it's an increase in war, an increase in soldiers, an increase in bodies, an increase in bodies that are carrying knives or weapons, right? And if it's on the world access point, if it's something that that concerns us globally, yeah, I would say that that's something about that war. So you might hear rumblings of possibly an ending to the war. Again, Neptune squaring Mars. There might be words. It doesn't mean it's happening though. So just, take this with a grain of salt because Mars moves fast. But what I will say is this Mars is going to go backwards and go retrograde. So I do know that means, yeah, we're going to be living through a Mars retrograde. And I'll have a separate video for that. You'll have to just be cautious because it's fighting words, Mars in Gemini, squaring Neptune. And yeah, I'll take a deep dive in another video for us. But Jupiter in Aries, which is the other word, yeah, because Mars rules Aries, it really does mean Mars when we have Jupiter in Aries. So when you have Jupiter in Aries, it is something new. It's absolutely something new. But Aries is the pioneer, right? Aries is the pioneer. When we look up for the meaning of just Aryan energy, it's somebody who wants to start something, who strikes out on their own, but it's a leader qualities, leader energy. So yeah, you could expect that you'll be starting something new. But now what we'll be doing, because this is a retrograde, you're going to be reviewing and rethinking about something new that you already began. And it would have been in the spring. You began something new in the spring. That's when Jupiter first got here. And so when we go to that retrograde, we kind of review those same conversations, those same issues. Remember all the money that went to the war at that time? That was when Jupiter entered Aries. It was like all of a sudden there was an increase in weapons. Jupiter and Aries, an increase in weapons. October 18th is when Jupiter just touches in at the 0 degree mark. So again, the war will be conversations and weapons will be conversations. Likely legislation having to do, especially in the States, with gun laws. Something happening there with that because it's the judge and that's Jupiter. So something will be occurring with that. It's October 28th. Jupiter in Pisces, I should say. I said Neptune. Jupiter in Pisces at 29 degrees. Politics, absolutely. Politics, politicians, music, theater, actors, actresses. It's, you have to be careful about the information, but there's a major increase in water because it's water. Pisces is water. You have Neptune retrograding and Jupiter retrograding at the same time. So if there's anyone who has breathing issues or difficulties, yeah, Pisces energy is spiritual energy, is music, theater, meditation, it's prayer, but it's best used, if you're not going to be praying, it's best used creatively. Make music, something with sound, healing, soothing, serene. It's poetry. So an increase in that because Jupiter has now entered Pisces. It's no longer in this war stuff anymore. So it takes to the water. Jupiter increases the water. If it's October, people are going to want to escape the politics. People are going to want to escape because that's Pisces energy. It's all about, and Neptune, it's all about let me escape. So movies, when I say make a movie, then go to a movie. Or how about read a good book? Turn the TV off because you're sick of hearing all these politicians talking about how they're better than the other. People have already done their homework and they know in their mind who they're going to be voting for. But when there's an increase in water, that means there's an increase in not only spirituality, there's an increase in intuitions, but there's also an increase in someone's ability to twist the truth. Mercury's a key factor. She's at 28 degrees, which means a critical degree at this time already. Wow. And it's in business partnerships. Mercury at 28 degrees in business partnerships. Partnerships, they can be relationships like marriage partnerships, not just business, because my mind is thinking globally, but definitely more business orientated because it's Mercury. It's conversations with significant one-on-one relationships. And these are very important partnerships. Okay. People you are committed to, people you are contracted to in some way. That is Mercury. Mercury is talking and communication, conversation. It's trade. It's the stock market. It is the stock market. Other people's money is a big factor because there's so much energy. So not to make this any more confusing than I already have, but Jupiter is in Pisces. And so it really changes. We're chilling out a little bit. The fight mentality eases off. Okay. It eases off a bit because we've got Jupiter and Neptune will be squaring the Mars energy. We'll be squaring the combative words. So hopefully that means there will be some politicians stepping up and leading the way with, hey, we need to somehow come together. We need to do what's right. Right. And not have so much, just so much aggression in our language. You're right. So much fight in our talk that we need. So hopefully there'll be somebody who is leading the way and who is setting a beautiful example is what I'm praying for with this energy. I recognize I can be extremely overly optimistic at times, but what I will say is that if you look closely at this chart, when Jupiter goes into Pisces on this day, we have vertex conjunct Uranus, which means a surprise of some sort. But it's an event because it's vertex. Some sort of a surprise. It has to do with money because it's in Taurus. And if it's not cashola or your income, it has to do with our values. So, what are your values? Who do you value and what do you value? The earth and agriculture absolutely is part of this. I'll do another video for that at another time. I'm getting into my astrologer mode where I'm looking at everything. So Jupiter's going to change its tone, some easing off of the combativeness. And we'll have a little bit more of the beauty and the goodness. And we'll be vegging out with our movies and books and music, listening to music to like soothe ourselves because it just all has become too much at this point. Some folks may be increasing substances because that is Piscean energy. Remember I said hospitals for Pisces and Neptune? So you just want to be cautious at that time because when Neptune is in Pisces retrograding and Jupiter, it means that whatever you took or take, you might not need as much of it, right? So if you only took one pill or you needed 2 pills before for whatever it was, a pain or you couldn't sleep or something, when there's an increase in Pisces energy, we literally need less of the substance. We actually become because see, Pisces is the opposite of our physical body. Our physical body is our strength. It's our energy. It's our action, right? Where Pisces being the opposite means no, it's more about sleep. That's Pisces. It is sleep and dreams. I know I didn't mention that before, but yeah, sleep, dreams, and fantasy is Pisces. So it's not about being physically active at all. So some people actually feel more tired when we have an increase in Pisces energy. So to recap, Jupiter's window started at the end of July and its retrograde ends November 24th. Just keep in mind that Neptune, folk, this will be the last time in our lifetimes that this Neptune will ever be opposing this Neptune. Although it's showing me that Sirius is opposing Neptune here. This is November 24th. Yikes. How long is that going to happen for? Sirius is our food. Food disappearing. Well, that's not too uncommon around Thanksgiving, but stock up. in case you're not already doing that. Neptune opposing Ceres. Ceres is your food and your grain. Yeah, that begins in November. Okay, so it doesn't last forever. And then Ceres keeps moving. See that? You're already at the beginning of December, and it's pulling away from Neptune very fast, actually. It's already at the 28 degrees, and Neptune's still stuck over here at 22 because it moves slow. I'm glad I covered that. So thank you for your time. I hope you got something out of this. If you ever have a question, if you ever have a concern, if you're confused about your degrees, if you don't know and you want to know, remember, comment below.